The Kundalini serpent snake symbolism, what does it mean? What can we do with it in the body? And of course, how can we take action to improve ourselves? Because hey, isn't that what it's all about, right? Cool. So recently been downloading again after doing some more cleansing and reconnecting my own nervous system. So that's how this information came to me. And as we know, the symbolism, we got to decode the symbols so we can actually find out what it means to us and then action and accomplish. And then we're expanded and we can share that with others. So, super simple as always when you figure it out. So the coiled serpent at the bottom of the base of the spine, okay, that's the coccyx gland in nervous system English scientific speak. And what's the coiled there? The coiled there is just critters and gunk. So, because that's the olfactory nerve which is connected to the vagus nerve in the nervous system, essentially. And so I've recently had that one disconnect and reconnect, and getting it back online and repairing after cleaning out some of my spine. So for the three body types in Ayurveda, if you've got the Vata or air body type, what have they got around that particular spot? And that spot's right here on the coccyx and the end of the large intestine, where every disease grows from, including cancer. So Vata people, they're airy and they're going to be light and fluffy and generally not grounded so much. So that's the nerve that needs to be reconnected. And because it's subconscious, they're not going to know unless they have this kind of information or see somebody who does. So they have a bunch of viruses. You ask them, they've always had viruses in their childhood, and that's been and head colds and influenza and things like that. It's just easy for them to pick up because their immune system's not connected to that particular point, so they don't get those messages to do this and to fix themselves and heal themselves. So for the fiery or pitta people, me of which being one, we have generally stagnant bile or too much acidity, because we're always got bucket loads of energy and we just go, 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 go. We got to learn to stop and get our liver to flush out and clean out what is generally, when stagnant bile, hey, it's acidic, then all sorts of critters and stuff can grow there. We generally get chronic inflammation, because we're fiery people. And of course, that acidity goes through the rest of the system and then stores at the end. And then we end up getting inflammation down there too. Rather uncomfortable. Of course, for Kapha people, which is the more earthy people, who generally have their stored energy in this particular area, they have a lot of mucus. And what's in the mucus? Well, there's all sorts of heavy metals, different critters, intestinal flukes, parasites, gunk, all sorts of yucky stuff. And they're unlikely to want to move too much, because it would stir up those critters and then the whatever feelings and emotions that are attached to the yucky biochemistry that's in that particular area. So the coiled serpent, or all of the critters or the viruses or the inflammation around that particular bad back. And that's why the bad back is so much more than a thought or a belief or an emotional. They are part of it, but you have to get to the causal body, so that, which is a six-dimensional awareness, which very few people get to unless they earn it, and in the body, of course. So all the causes are in the body. So we have to fix the biochemistry and get the critters out and all the viruses and all the gunk. So if we put this into the spiritual terminology and symbolism, we've got a coiled serpent at the spine, and then when we release that energy, so we start improving ourselves in personal spiritual development or improving our diet, those stored viruses or diseases start to come up into the nervous system and the endocrine system for you to become aware of, to fix. But some people are sitting there meditating and thinking they're going to fix it by thinking about it. Good luck with that, because that's 1% conscious mind, and if you can seriously think you have the power of your 1% conscious mind to overwhelm the significant biochemistry and toxins that have been stored there for decades, good luck with that, because it's not going to work. It's going to work very poorly, especially because we're in an environment that is incredibly environmentally toxic, and we're producing this every day and then adding to it. That's just not going to work. You can think that, but keep thinking it, because you'll be stuck in a delusion. And of course, the delusion, where does the delusion come from? The delusion is stored in that same particular area, because that's where all the critters are. So we can understand that, a lot of what I call fluffy people are not practical in their body. We'll never understand it because it's subconscious, and they're stored delusions, and the critters and all the gunk are significantly affecting their subconscious mind, so to not get the messages to their conscious mind. It's tricky, isn't it? Hence why ideally it's good to have a guide who knows these things, and more importantly, someone who's done it. So, Kundalini serpent, coiled at the base, clear the base, clear it out. When I started detoxing and cleaning out both my whole system, but in particular the end of the large intestine, and enemas and cleansing and shankars are by far the best way to do this. And this is why in Ayurveda we use oil enemas as well, because it's lubricating and nourishing at the weakest point of the body. So it is highly beneficial to get rid of all of these stored diseases. And in order to do that on a daily basis, by having that in your routine, is by far the most efficient way to do that. Because if you just do it, once every 6 months, here or there, okay, you'll go up, but then you'll go down, and you'll just keep doing that, and it's uncomfortable emotionally, and you're co-creating that, so it's not too much fun. Cool. So Kundalini serpent snake symbolism. How do we got to get rid of the gunk at the bottom so then we can rise for ascension?